Welcome to Miffs. I'm Matt Huss.
And I'm Dan Rhodes. Whether you know about Theseus or you're revising your syllabus,
If you want tales with a bit of jest, or you just want to hear about incest.
What?
What? It's really interesting.
Welcome to Miffs. Welcome to Miffs.
Good morning, Britain. We'd like to formally announce that this is episode 131 of Miffs Podcast. Please welcome your host, Dan Rhodes and Matt Hulse. Hello, welcome!
Where's the applause? There's no applause.
Because it was a radio broadcast, Dan, from the 1930s. You don't get applause. You only get rations. That's what it was all about.
That was a difficult time for everyone.
Especially us. We weren't even born yet. It was
Yeah,
difficult.
it was a really difficult time for me because I just wanted to be born and I wasn't yet.
What time, if you had to choose a year to be born, which year would you say? Would you?
I actually, climate change aside, always think there is actually no better time to be born than now, because everything is always better now than it was before. Future. I mean, okay. When I mean that, I mean like genuine quality of life. I'm talking about like health. I'm talking about working conditions. I'm talking about prejudice. It still exists, but it's way better than it was. Go you back any time a few decades. It's worse, isn't it? However, maybe if I was born in the 60s, I would be able to live in my own home right now.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that was a very straightforward answer to what was meant to be a silly question. But you answered it the true answer, though, because, I'm not sure if you ever saw the BBC Dracula series. Did you see that, the 3-part?
No, I did not.
It was very good, but no spoilers. But there's one point where Dracula is commenting upon the richness of current human life, and human life at the moment.
He's been around a long time.
Yes, Dracula has. Fictional Dracula has been around for a really long time, since we can say any time, I suppose. But he, but the thing is, he said basically we live like gods. We can travel anywhere in a day. We got to live in houses. It's pretty cool, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, some people will argue it's not that good because I don't know, climate change is probably the big one. But no, I genuinely think when you think of quality of life, if you'd have been born any other time, I think about this for a while. If you'd have been born in medieval times, have you ever had any injuries in your life or gone to a hospital for an operation that were you not alive today, you probably would have died?
Welcome to Miffs, everyone. well, interesting. An interesting way to start the chat. But Dan, how are you doing today?
I'm very good, thank you, Matthew. I am excited. It's sunny. It's actually bank holiday when we record this. So
absolutely.
Good
so
vibes.
By which I mean it'll be released in 3 months' time.
3 months' time, yeah. But it might be
The
another
next
bank holiday, so we'll be good.
Fingers crossed, everyone. And it's been a real pleasure to have you all back. And we've got a lovely response in the last episode. It's really, I think people appreciate us putting out these episodes. So I'm glad we're back at it, Dan. We're fighting fit. This is we're doing pretty well, actually. It only took me a while to edit the episode, but now I have a lot more free time on my hands. It's at the end of a very, very busy period for me, Dan, and I'm going to sleep for a week when all this is done.
Why is it not busy?
Why is it not busy?
Yeah, you were so busy. Why is this? What has stopped? What has gone wrong in Matt Hoss's life?
So, not wrong. It's just that you know how I like to add a lot of projects to my roster. You
do like to double book yourself.
I can't forget that things need to have space in them. But I made the Twinge Festival, which is a Twitch fringe festival online, which has gone really well. Today is the last day as we record, and it's that's pretty emotional. There's been a lot of hard work. I organised and set it all up and did everything. I literally set up a fringe festival, Dan. That's what I've done in lockdown.
Very impressive.
It's pretty cool, right?
Oh, I said impressive, not cool.
You know what? You had fair rights to do that. That's absolutely fair. And also, I would like you to rank these. Not immediately. I'll tell you what they are, and I want you to rank them and what you think is most worthwhile and most interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so I'd also Castable season 4 has just ended. We just finished with a 2-part from John Robbins, a dream guest I've had for like I like essentially
You do like John Robbins?
My persona is kind of based a lot around his stuff, but yeah, or at least it mirrored it. No, maybe not copied, but very much echo of that. But also, yeah, so that came out. That was quite a lot. And Castle has been tough this time round. If you don't know what Castle is, please check it out. Download it, 5 stars, all jazz. Is that rude to do so early on? I don't know.
You get every single episode, so why would today be any different?
Are you upset, Dan?
No, I just think it's funny.
Yeah. I see the pain behind your eyes.
I mean, you're basically plugging your own diary right now.
I am. Well, this and the last one is kind of. Well, I also I had to do a stand-up show yesterday in Leicester, and I haven't done stand-up for a very long time. So it went pretty well. I just talked a lot, and
that is the nature of the game. It would be awkward if you just stood there in silence.
There was a lot less jokes than I had anticipated.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I was just kind of just sitting around, really. There was no formal plan. I feel very comfortable in front of an audience now. Yeah, I mean, I can just figure it out.
And that was different to your usual stand-up comedy because...
Well, I would care a lot more about the quality of it. Now I'm
wow.
Just
okay, wow. Normally you care about the stand. Wow, okay, that's interesting.
What do you mean about that, Dan?
Nothing. No, nothing. I was thinking out loud. No, nothing.
No,
You're an amazing stand-up comedian. I've really loved watching you over the years.
Well, why don't you just say what's on your mind, Dan? Because we can kind of assume what's happening. Have you got the balls to say it? Go on, say it. Say it, you little shit.
My house isn't funny.
That's fair.
That's fair. I'm joking. No, you're actually very good. Do you remember I complimented you, didn't I, when I came to see you in Wimbledon, and I said that your act was vastly improved. Since the days of the old.
Oh man, I used to be so bad at stand-up, like ridiculously bad at stand-up.
No, you were never. No, you were never bad. I think you've always been good. Actually, I think you've always been good. But even that's the compliment. Is even though you were good before, and that you were really very professional.
Oh, thank you. You know what? I just think it's with stand-up, it kind of like I think I found my voice and who I am a lot more, and that's why yesterday I just kind of I didn't mind. Yeah, I just was doing my thing. Do you know what I mean? I think it was a long way coming. But the final thing out of the 4 is I finished this week on my in my day job. I work for a mental health charity, and I set up an online kind of workshop over the summer for people who are like anxious and stuff like that. And we did the final week this week, and we did a ceremony online, and a lot of the parents came on and said some really nice stuff, and I felt very, very upset and. I'm not upset, just emotional afterwards as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, like you try and do a job that no one really cares about, and but then people say how much they appreciate you. It was very nice.
That is nice. Thank you for sharing.
So now rank those experiences 1 to 4.
Well, number 1 being good.
Top. Number 1 is the top.
Okay, let's start with in at number 4. Then we'll start from the bottom.
Yeah.
In at number 4. I think the thing that was least cool was probably... Oh, this is going to sound harsh. No,
yeah.
I don't
Go
know.
on.
I don't know.
Go on.
Probably the stand-up, actually.
Yeah, why the stand-up?
Stand-up just because it's something you do a lot of. You hadn't done it in a while. I feel like it was easy for you to just go up there, do your thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In at number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Is mental health charity.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, it's sad because it's ending, and it's cool because it's necessary, and it's important that we have these discussions. However, it's not as cool as 2 and 1, which is number 2 that you did the festival. I think that's very impressive. I think that's very good that you took that on. And number 1 is John Robbins, because he's a personal... You're a big fan. He's a personal hero of yours.
Absolutely, I think it's one. Oh, thanks, man. I can't believe you put Castle as number 1. That's cray. I thought
okay. I threw up in my mouth a little bit, but
your principles have been rotten. But yeah, I think it's been quite a rambunctious time for me. But I'm really happy to be back, and I got more time to do more Miffs and to chill out a bit more. But let's go and talk about new beginnings. Why don't we start a brand new, fresh leaf? With a new mythology. Shall we, Dan?
Yes, I'll see you on the other side, Matthew.
is episode 131. Last time we finished off the Mayan civilization, not finished them off.
The Spanish finished them off.
Moving on to a new mythology. This is season 3, where we are doing the whole of the world, which is a
Miffs
really open-ended one.
Oh, by the way, I should really quickly mention, literally yesterday, in the staff room at work, a good friend of mine at work, Natalie, was talking about podcasts. No, actually, no. What actually happened was she was asking me what I was doing at the weekend, and I was talking about some stuff, and then I said, "Oh, I'm also going to maybe record my podcast."
Mhm.
And then she said, "You're what?" And in that moment, I realized she didn't know, and then I explained to her, and she found it on her phone, and she listened to a good 10 minutes of the last episode
Oh my God.
130,
Yeah.
the hummingbird, and
Thank the Lord.
big fan of the jingle, I must say.
Yes! Thanks. Which ones? As in,
He
like,
actually said, "Who wrote this? I find it really catchy." And I said, "Matt
Oh.
wrote that."
Oh, thank you. That's actually so kind. Oh, that's nice. Oh, thank you, Natalie. Hope you enjoy. Do send us an email, because no one has for 2 years. So please do, Natalie. Miffspodcast@gmail.com.
I should also joke. There was a bit where she looked at it and was like, "Oh, you've actually had listeners."
Yeah,
I was like, "No, we do have listeners. People do listen."
I think because we create a culture where we pretend that no one listens to this, but actually it's more popular than I remembered. Like, we get a lot of downloads, actually.
That's actually, I joked with her when she showed me. I saw some of the numbers and I was like, "Oh, that's gone up." Anyway,
yeah, because we haven't really looked. Maybe we got one very persistent listener,
probably,
who is listening to, shall I say, serial killer levels of this podcast.
Yes,
If you've listened to this 10,000 times, fair play to you, mate.
fair play to you. But Matthew, do you remember what civilization, what mythology I decreed last episode when we ended the miners that we would be doing today?
Yes, I remember it vividly. I've been very excited for this all week. Genuinely, I think this is the best step to go into, and in our direction, it's going to be. I think it's going to be eye-opening, because we are looking into the Celtic mythology.
Correct. If by Celtic you mean Chinese.
Wait, what? Wait, did you get them mixed up?
Yes, I got very confused. No, basically, real talk, people. Real talk.
Mm-hmm.
I did do. I, as Matt will concur, actually, we have different roles. Matt does all the editing and everything to do with the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
All I have to do, my one job, is write a description, which, let's be honest, I didn't even do last week. And I find the myths that we read out, right? That's my thing. I put the myths up, we do it, and then Matt edits. Anyway, I spent a long time the other day, and even yesterday before, like last night, trying to find Celtic stories that were more than 3 sentences long.
Yeah.
It's very, very difficult. And I've been doing a lot of research into it, and it turns out, if the internet is anything to go by, actually Celtic stories haven't been passed down. They're not really written about. Actually, a lot of them have been lost.
Mm-hmm.
Because of oral, because of various things. When I say oral, I mean because of oral language.
It's a weird way of storytelling.
Yeah, exactly. And it's actually very difficult. Now, they do exist, but very much in, like, as Matt will concur with, again, with other things that we said in other myths. Sometimes you find stories, but it's only someone will just say, "Hey, this is in Celtic myth. They believed in this." Anyway, moving on, and it's like, whoa, where's the actual? It's very difficult. There's no story, and when you do find a story, it's not very long. However, what I have found, it seems, is a relatively decent amount of Chinese mythology. It's incredibly rich. I've been thinking that actually we were going to do this after the Celts, but I'm thinking, I'll try and see if we can find some stuff about the Celts. It's just going to take a bit longer. But for now, Matt, if you will allow us, I'm thinking we'll do the next few episodes a little bit of Chinese mythology, a little bit of ancient Chinese proverbs and stories and stuff like that. There's a lot of interesting and weird and wonderful gods and stuff like that I've been looking into, so I think we're going to have a good time.
The deal here, though, like I was going to struggle with Celtic pronunciations. Chinese ones, I don't have a hope in hell. But...
Actually, by the looks of it, Chinese ones are actually very easy to pronounce.
Okay, well, we'll wait. Well, I can already see one, which I think is going to be a bit hard. But Yeah. So I think it's fair to say that we're not experts on we're not experts on anything, but
That is
we get
definitely, if you could take one thing away from today, it's that we're
you can
not experts on anything.
take a lot of things away.
Actually,
But yeah,
arguably, the thing we're the least expert on is actually the thing that we do the podcast on.
for sure, absolutely. But also on top of that, like, so we're gonna approach this with respect. We're not gonna if we do make mistakes, yeah, we're not doing it intentionally or out of malice. We're just two idiots. So
Yeah.
hopefully that's
Any terrible Chinese accents on Matt's part,
we are not
we
doing that.
will
Not-
apologise for.
We are not doing that. 1000% not doing that. And don't even think about doing it now because I know you would,
Ah.
and then I have to edit it out.
No, it's okay. I'll be good.
Um,
What about
Oh,
if it's a really good Chinese accent? I thought the
Oh,
rule
yeah,
of
then
accents
sure,
was that
go
you can
for
do
it.
them if they're actually good.
yeah, sure.
No, I can't
mean,
do a good one. I'm just saying, what if I perfect it? Would you allow that? Is that allowed? I don't know. I thought the rule of
no.
accents was that you can do an accent that isn't your own. If it's genuinely good, you can kind of get away with it.
I think that's cancelable territory around there, and I think maybe
Fine, I won't do any accents.
Dan, can you stop doing the accent? I find it offensive.
Matthew, may I start today's myth?
Oh yes, please do. And let's go into our first episode of the Chinese mythology. Take it away, Dan.
Pangu is a prominent figure in Chinese creation mythology.
Is it different to Pingu?
Yes, it's Pangu, the Chinese god of creation, is,
Okay.
spoiler alert, different to the cartoon Pingu.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make that very clear. I don't want any confusion.
Okay, thank you very much.
To this day, the Zhuang people sing a traditional song about Pangu creating the heaven and the earth. So even though this is ancient Chinese mythology, dating right back thousands of years, the people of China still, they still culturally, they still talk about these gods. It's still very in their consciousness. So yeah, exciting
Awesome.
times. In the beginning, the universe was nothing but chaos, and the heavens and the earth were intermingled in a big black egg, being commonly used as an analogy. All right,
what
so
does that mean?
One thing I would say is every creation myth seems to start with chaos, does it not? Have we had any creation myths that haven't started with absolute chaos?
Well, you know what? I actually think it's to do with empire. Do you know what I mean? Because like, if all these things come to empire, and I was actually listening to a podcast about the Mongolian Empire, and they took over China in the 13th century. And
Shout out to Genghis.
Genghis, actually, that's how they pronounce it, Genghis Khan. Dan is either frozen or sad. It's hard to tell which one, but
Anyway, continue, Matt, because I think you're about to say something poignant.
Yeah, but like I think it's to do with empire because like and also just maybe just religion stuff like that. It's about order and structure, isn't it? You're trying to create the most efficient model possible. So saying it's about contrast. And like before it was chaos, it was all like random matter, but now it's order and structure and normality. Do you know what I mean? And chaos. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a good way to describe nothingness, right? It's just kind of like there was nothing, now there is.
Nice.
Is that good?
That is good.
Nice. I am edging closer to a BBC Radio 4 panel.
So there's a massive black egg.
Mm-hmm.
That is the universe, the egg.
You're a black egg.
That's really rude, actually.
Well, but an egg, like who? So what came first? Is big black egg or a big black chicken?
Ooh, that's next week's myth.
All right, cool. So what was
it's one of those chickens? You know the Indonesian black chickens you get that the skin is actually black. Have you ever seen those before?
No.
Like when you like roast, like if you were to like roast the chicken in the oven, it would look like, you know how they look like it's black because even the skin of the chicken is black.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa. Interesting. Anyway.
Pangu was born inside of this egg and slept for 18,000 years, during which time the yin and yang balanced as he grew. Now, Matthew, I hope you're familiar with the yin and the yang, obviously a big symbol in Chinese philosophy and Taoism and Judaism.
Yeah, so it's kind of it's that symbol where it's a circle with white bits swollen into a black bit and a white dot in the black bit and a black dot in the white bit,
Yeah,
symbolizing you need a bit of both, a bit
it's
balance, right?
dualism, right? The good with the bad, the love with the hate. It's all about balance, the yin and
Hmm.
the yang.
Out of us two, because I feel like we're yin and yang. Which one are us? Am I yin or am I
Well, I'm going to
yang?
be totally honest with you. I actually don't know which one is good or bad out of yin and yang.
Maybe
Do
we're
you
both
know which one
yangs.
is which?
Um, let's have a look. Uh, Yin is the passive female principle of the universe, characterized as a female and sign with associated with earth, dark and cold.
Yeah, and yin
Oh,
is dark.
that's you.
Okay.
Yeah, because I feel like you're passive and dark and cold.
Yeah. And what's yang?
Yang means you have a massive wang. No, let's have a look at Yang. Yang is a.
Do you think other podcasts do all this before they go on air?
Yeah, but where's the fun in that? You know what I mean? Like, fucking nerds. Like, oh, look at me. I've done it. Oh, we have a Google Doc. What more do you want? Oh, it's a masculine and active principle, which is exhibited in light, heat, or dryness that combines with yin to produce all that comes to be. So I feel like kind of masculine energy, and I'm pretty alpha.
You are pretty alpha. Yeah, you are pretty alpha. Okay, you can be yang, I'll be yin.
I think we're both yins, actually. You know what I mean?
Yeah, probably.
There is no balance in this podcast.
There's no balance. So yeah, he's been asleep for 18,000 years. I feel like you could give that a good go.
Yeah, I you know what? That's the after Twinge is finished. That's how long I'm going to be sleeping for. 18,000 years in a big black egg.
When Pangu came into existence, he realized that he was confined in a very tight space. He began to twist and writhe, eventually breaking the shell of the egg and emerging into the void. It's quite vivid, isn't it?
Yeah, and earlier it said it was an analogy. What's an analogy for?
I don't know, the universe, the womb. I don't know.
McDonald's. I don't know.
From there are at least 3 different versions of the story. Okay, this is important. This is why I wanted to start, because I've been doing a lot of research in Chinese. Because of the nature of Southern China have their versions, Northern China have their versions, Western. Do you know what I mean? China's a huge country. Let's not forget this.
And also, because I listened to a podcast last night, it means that I actually know more than I thought. There's also different empires in China. It's not just one conglomerate state until Mongolians took over. So there's a lot. Of course, there's going to be different tellings of the story.
And China famously, it broke up a lot, didn't it? Like the Han, different dynasties, Han, Tan, Ming, all those guys. Yeah. All those guys.
We're quite the scholars, aren't we? Yeah, no fucking cunts, mate.
But, famously, dynasties brought in different things, but and each time it changed, So a lot of, I think, a feature of Chinese mythology and moving forward as we do the episodes will be that a lot of these will have different versions, which isn't. Other things we've done, Egyptian and Greek, they often have one main version and maybe where possible a slight, actually some people say this happened, but it's never a big deal. Whereas in Chinese, it's almost like a whole completely different things happen in different versions, but all to do with the same creation story or the same, So it's be interesting.
Kind of a bit like Spider-Man in the way that it's been rebooted several times, but now it's all coming together.
Yes, of course, Matt Hotz found a way to liken Chinese mythology to Spider-Man.
Is that insensitive?
You excited for the Spider-Man film, Matthew?
Dan, I've obviously done so much research on it. Yeah, I mean, I've obviously figured out everything before it's even come to air. I'm one night session away from being a conspiracy theorist. That's how close I am on this.
People are really freaking out because Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire aren't in the trailer, but they're definitely in it. It's basically a live action multiverse, and it's going to be insane.
But right, we should move on because we don't want to make it a really long podcast because I have so many things to say. But
We'll talk about this off air.
One final thing is that I'm glad they didn't put it in the trailer because you need to hold something back. Yeah, I mean, you can't just give it all up front. You know what I mean? Obviously it's a trailer. They're trying to get you to go and see the film. You fucking idiots. You know what I mean? Why?
And it's done its job because everyone's talking about it.
Yeah. Anyway,
Matthew, can you give us the different versions of the story? So I've started. He's in the egg, slept for 18,000 years. Pangu, the god of creation, is broken out of the egg and entered the void. What happens next?
Okay. First, number one, Kaching. In the first, the cracked egg created the heavenly bodies, and in some versions of the story, the earth. The light egg white floated up to become the clouds and the stars, whilst the dense yolk sunk down and became land. The two halves of the shell became the sun and the moon, which that's cool. I
That's
like
cool.
that.
I like that too.
Although that would mean that as a vegan, you wouldn't be allowed to live in the universe.
Yes, that is true. But it's fine. You'll be okay.
Yeah. Thank you, because I feel my guilt's coming through.
I think it's fine though because the egg, as we established, we don't know if it came from a big black chicken, so it might have,
Maybe it's just
it might not be from an animal. It's an immaculate conception egg.
I wish that was the title of this episode. Right.
What I'm confused about is if he was in the egg, how comes it has a yolk? Because the yolk is when it's not fertilized. But if he was in it, he would have been fertilized.
Well, maybe he was there for so long it grew another yolk.
Fine.
Yeah, fair enough. Number two. In other versions, however, yin and yang themselves were used to create the land and the sky, while the egg made only the stars and the planets. Pangu split yin and yang with his axe, so they became two opposite elements in perfect balance.
Sorry, can I just say, he has an axe?
Yeah, that was my question as well. Where did he get the axe from? Well,
Was he just born from the eternal void egg with an axe?
And a yolk.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Damn.
I mean, what else other things do you think he had?
I love how earlier they were like, when he realized he was in a confined space, he wriggled and writhed until it broke. Just use his axe. He's got a goddamn axe.
And also, no wonder why it's tight. You've got a fucking armory in there. It's like, yeah, I've got fire rockets in here. I've got my skateboard. It's like, have a clean out, mate.
Nice.
He's a hoarder. But in both of these stories, the heaven and the earth were constantly attracted to one another. Pangu placed himself between them and pushed the sky away from the land.
So that's agreed on all accounts. He pushed the sky and the land. A bit Atlas style, kind of, but not really.
Yeah. I think it'll be a very taxing job, though, wouldn't it? You know what I mean?
Yes. It probably. Yeah. You know what? I think holding up the heavens and the earths would probably be a bit tiring.
But then again, if they're floating away, maybe it's quite light. You know what I mean? I could hold up an eggshell. Yeah. So he held the sky in this way for 18,000 years. He really loves doing stuff in 18,000 brackets.
He does.
Every day, both he and the universe grew. The earth grew 10 feet thicker, whilst Pangu grew 3 feet taller, so he pushed the sky farther away. That's a long shift.
Also, I like the very specific mathematics involved.
Yeah, and here we go.
Someone's worked out the ratio of how much he grew 3 feet while the earth grew 10 feet.
Yeah, and well, it's not exactly we could put a ruler to the sky and be like, yeah, this actually is the precise measurements of the sky. But yeah.
Wait, so you're saying this didn't happen?
I'm not qualified to say yes or no to that answer. Right. So after 18 millennia, Pangu stopped growing. When this happened, he died. And his limb. That always happens in these stories.
Always happens. Every goddamn civilization myth, it always ends in the person that creating it dying.
He died, and his limbs became the 4 pillars that stood hold the sky. He's had a miserable old time because his rate of being grown in the womb is the same as his life. So that's the equivalent of being a 9-month-old. You know what I mean? So he barely had a life really, and when he died, he's still working. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I was reading in some versions actually before I put them in that they were saying that he's in Chinese mythology he's pictured as like basically a dwarf when he's in the egg. He's really small, but as he grows over the 18,000 years, he becomes bigger and stronger until eventually he becomes depicted as a giant. So there's like the evolution of Pangu sometimes depicted. He's like little and then he's big.
Yeah. Okay. Do you want to do the next bit?
The effort of breaking free of the egg exhausted him, so Pangu fell asleep. He died in his sleep, and his body changed over time. So, sorry, this is a different version. Sorry, this is another version.
Okay.
In
I
other
see.
versions, the effort of breaking free from the egg exhausting him, so Pangu fell asleep. He died in his sleep, and his body changed over time. The last of his breath became clouds. His body became the land, with his spine forming a great mountain range. His teeth and bones became metal and gems. His
That's heavy
veins
metal.
made great canyons and ravines, the blood that flowed in them becoming rivers.
So
His
that's
sweat
definitely
became
been.
rain. His voice was preserved as thunder. Ooh, that's nice.
There's definitely this kind of imagery we've had before, like giants dying and that
And their
becomes
body
the
becoming...
landscape.
Yeah, 100%. That was a big thing in Norse mythology, was it not?
For sure.
Even the fleas that lived in his thick black hair were transformed. I mean, he's been living in an egg for 18,000 years, so yeah, fair enough.
And if you're holding up the sky every single day, you don't have time to go to the shop and get a
He's not
comb.
washing his hair.
I mean? Yeah.
They became the animals that inhabited the land before humans were created. His hair became forests in some retellings of the story. In others, it drifted upward and became the stars.
Wait, hair?
Yeah.
His pubes are the stars.
His eyes floated away from his body. The left eye became the sun, while his right eye became the moon.
So
In
there's
this
two
version,
moons.
his limbs still also became the 4 pillars that held the heavens up. So they always agree on that.
Okay, so
The end, by the way. That's how the world and the heavens were created.
I think this is a very odd creation myth because there's a lot more questions than answers here. Do you know what I mean? Because firstly, does that mean that we have evolved from fleas?
Yes.
Yeah, we're just ticks. That's what we are.
Yes.
Wow. Okay. Dan, if you what other parts of the body do you think would turn to things? Like what would his heart turn into, for example?
His heart would turn into the core of the earth.
Okay, and what would his kidneys be?
His kidneys would turn into... trying to think of what a kidney does. It helps with like
It's a dam.
Yeah, it's a dam of some kind. I was going to
Hoover
say,
dam.
yeah,
It's Hoover Dam.
filtering. Yeah.
And his penis is obviously Trump Tower for sure.
Trump Tower, yes.
Yeah.
All right, Matthew. Shall we rank this mother?
Yeah. Let's go.
Hey there, my name's Matt Huss, and in this link I have an American accent, and I advocate the safe use of Miffs podcasts in small doses.
As per usual, we always rank these myths on a scale of 1 to 40, well, not really, no, 4 to 40, but anyway, but what it is that we rank it in 4 different sections. That's life skills, morals, creativity, and WTF. So yeah, let's get started and look at the life skills that we had learned from this, and I think there's a lot. Firstly, we learn how to make an omelette by creating the universe.
We learn how to make a heaven and earth omelette. We learn how to break out. We learn how to use an axe. We learn how to hold the heaven and the earth up. We learn how to make stars and planets. We learn how to make animals. We learn how to make mountains and rivers.
We learn how to sleep for a long time and do a long shift.
For a long time.
And Pangu didn't complain. He was like, "All right, I'm doing this shift. No worries."
He's just like this. Well, I guess no one else is here. I may as well create heaven and earth.
And I love how he does. Like, well, better just die now.
I'm sleepy. Oh, wait, I'm going to die now.
And my limbs pop off? I don't know.
Limbs popped off, yeah. But, a decent amount. We learned a decent amount, I think. All creation myths tend to be pretty heavy on the life skills, or else they wouldn't be very good creation myths if they haven't made anything.
I think that it's going to be a 7 for me.
I agree, actually. Wow. Once we agree on... We're getting good at this agreeing recently, actually, I must say. Gone are the days of you going crazy high for no reason.
I think since the pandemic, and I'm not blaming the pandemic for this, I've been more reasonable in this. I think when we're in person, I get very competitive about it. And now I have other things in my life where it's not my only thing, so I don't care about it as much.
That's true. That is true. All right, morals.
So these are the
morals,
ethical...
really. I don't really know, actually, if this is particularly high. Creation myths, again, tend not to be too high on the morals because it's more about creating life rather than it's not really a moral. It's not about teaching a lesson about love or hate or redemption or revenge. It's just a guy making some stuff.
So, but I think there is some, if not many. It's important. I think yin yang as a concept is quite good morals, and the fact that he split it in one version, sort of an axe, suggests that that's not great. Also, the moral of like chaos into life is interesting, and
That's
also
true.
if you're struggling for space, don't fucking pack an axe with you. That's what I'd say. That's a good moral.
The things you learn when doing myths. I think also maybe is there a moral about the sacrifice, like the way that he slept and he died, so that he was willing to hold up for 18,000 years the heaven and the earth, so that it could grow and become and nurture and become what it is today.
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm thinking maybe a 4 or 3.
Yeah, I was going 4 or 5, but I'm happy to go with 4.
Yeah, 4.
4. Okay, we've got 7 and a 4. Creativity. So these are how creative was it? The narrative, the kind of intricacies of the storyline. Do we think it taught us something? What are you thinking, Matt? I think it's creative actually. All the different versions.
Yeah.
How his limbs became the 4 pillars, how his hair became the stars, how the yoke floated up. That was very vivid.
Oh, I love the fact that egg whites are the center of the universe. You know what I mean? I love that.
How he
And it
just
makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, because if you're cracking an egg open as part of your diet most days of the week, you can quite. It's an easy way to describe what it is. You know what I mean? But
I think it's good. I think it's a nice way of describing. Yeah, and the imagery of him like growing 3 feet taller whilst the Earth grew 10 feet. But that's very creative. I like those specificities.
mm-hmm. And although we've seen it before, that him becoming the landscape is interesting, and also on top of that, holding up the pillar like it feels like it's a mixed bag between a lot of different cultures. We have the Norse stuff with the limbs being ravines, but also the Atlas vibe from Greek mythology, and also that's all really just 2 examples. But I still think it's interesting. It's nice. It feels like a typical one, but it still has its own vibe. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I like it. What are you thinking?
A 6 or a 7, I think.
Oh my god, I can't believe I was literally about to say 6.
Yeah, 6.
So do you want to do benefit of the doubt and give 7, or should we say 6?
6. Let's go with 6.
WTF, Matt. So this is the what the fuck factor. What the hell were some of the things in there? So we've got him just being birthed out of an egg with an axe.
Yeah,
We've got his fleas becoming animals.
and
We've got him being a dwarf and then growing. And also, why is it so specific that 18,000 years? That's kind of weird.
Yeah, for sure. And his life wasn't very long in comparison to his congestion period. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
we've got him taking, might I add, a well-deserved nap after holding up the heavens and the earth for 18,000 years. And then he, spoiler alert, dies.
and we didn't really focus too much on it, but the first thing he does as soon as he's breaking out of the egg in one story is he goes and fucking hits something with an axe, the yin and yang get dead fast. That's the first thing you do. That's the first thing you do, mate.
He's groggy. He's just been asleep in an egg.
Yeah, but if you're like Tan, you have slept a lot around me. You are you like a nap. If you're coming up from your post nap, do you think you can swing an axe?
No, I need a bit of time.
Yeah, you need a bit of time for sure. And
you know how some people work shit. You know how police or ambulance, they'll work shift patterns where it's like 4 days on, 4 days off. That's essentially what he did. 18,000 years off, 18,000 years on, 18,000 years off. He just has very long shift patterns.
Yeah, absolutely. It's well paid stuff. But I don't. If I'm being critical, there's nothing really shocking in this. Apart from the hit with the axe, there's no violence. It's which isn't necessarily WTF, but there's nothing.
Is his blood becoming rivers messed up, or I suppose that's quite normal for a creation myth? Actually, if we've got to look at it in the context of what it is.
Well, I think the limbs and the eyes are the weirdest thing for me.
Yeah.
Like the fact that his eyes from the sun and the moon. That's pretty mad. Like they just pop up out of his body.
I think a 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think 5.
Yeah, I think it's average. All right, so we got
Okay.
a 7 for life skills, a 4 for morals, a 6 for creativity, and a 5 for WTF. That gives us, Matthew Hoss, a score of, drum roll please.
22. 22.
Ooh,
It's
I'm doing a
22.
drum roll. I'm doing a drum roll. Thank you very much.
22. It's 22.
Oh, I can even
22.
hear this drum roll. You probably can't. 22.
Have you enjoyed today's myth?
Do you know what I have? Sorry to all the fans of the Celtic mythology that were helping to come in, but it's going to take a bit of time. And I'm glad we did. This is going to be interesting, I think. This was a good one to start with. We always start with creation myths, otherwise that would be weird. You've got to start chronologically. But yeah, how did you find that? Are you excited to hear some more Chinese gods?
Absolutely. And I think, I think we should do the Celtic one, but like one big session. We do it.
Yes, I was going to tell you that in a off-air production meeting, but we've done it now, so let's say that we're probably going to do that.
We've saved
One or
ourselves a
two,
meeting.
maybe 2 episodes, Matt. Maybe we can
Yeah.
I agree.
But yeah, it's been good. I'm looking forward to doing Chinese mythology, and it's something I really don't know much about, so it's going to be fun learning. And also, but I feel like we do know a lot about different myths now, and the one thing I kind of took away from today is that we actually know a lot about creation myths, and that's really what this whole season is about, isn't it? It's about looking at how things manifest in different cultures, right?
Yeah, you actually don't realize how much you learn doing myths until I'm doing a quiz or someone mentions something, and I'm like, oh, I actually do know that. Because these things are all over like pop culture. These, the Greeks, the Romans, the Egyptians, the Norse, now the Chinese. Like it's everywhere, and it's funny how we can like tell. We notice parallels between this one and some of the Norse ones and some of the Greek ones. In fact, this was kind of like you say, a mixture of the two. You had the Greek because it's like Atlas holding up the heavens, and it's also a bit Greek in the sense that there's chaos and then there's nothing and then there's something. But it's also Norse in the sense that he gives back his body and become parts of the world. So. Yeah, a nice one. And if you enjoy this podcast, do email us.
Misspodcast@gmail.com. I lied earlier. We have got an email in, and not just spam. We actually have one from Alex Hoss. We can read it out now, or it's basically just doing a story request for Maori mythology. I'm sure we'll get around to that at some point. Thank you, Alex.
We will do the Maoris, yes.
Absolutely.
New Zealand.
New Zealand, Matt.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. Did you have a good wedding, by the way? Alex Hoss got married.
Yeah, a very lovely wedding. It was
Nice.
good, and I got to hang out with.
Brother, by the way, if that wasn't clear.
Yeah, I don't go to all of my fans' weddings, but if you want me there, I'll do it. Like if you want me to do comedy at your wedding, I am very cheap.
Yeah, Matt from Miffs podcast fame will happily officiate a wedding.
I will not officiate the wedding. Well, actually, it doesn't cost that much to do it. I'll do it. I'll do your wedding.
A Miffs wedding. Oh my god, should we get into wedding planning?
Oh
should
my
we start a side business, Miffs Weddings?
Miffs Wedding. What does that even mean?
Every wedding is just the Battle of the Lapiths, where a Cyclops comes.
Oh my god!
Centaurs come and kill everyone.
I mean, that's if you have a really annoying family members like your Aunt June is a bit of a bitch. You know what I mean? Like let's go and take her out.
Anyway, Matthew, they can also find us at Miffs Podcast on Facebook and Twitter. Anything else, Matthew? Anything you want to add about today?
Please follow me at Matt Hoss Comedy on all platforms, especially Twitch. And I would say check out Castival, but I think I've already done that today. But just keep in touch, everyone. Like, if you enjoy these episodes, kind of use it or lose it. You know what I mean? Like, we would happily do a lot more of these. Just let us know if you enjoy it or not. Like, if not, we'll just slow down. We want to do as much as possible. So if you want to,
feel free to add to our numerous 5-star reviews.
Absolutely. Oh my god, please do. And say what your favorite thing. Are you a yin?
No, we actually do have 17 5-star reviews. That's not bad.
That's pretty good. We also have 300 1-star reviews.
Shut up.
No, I'm joking. It's a flawless record so far. Do not ruin it. Give us 5 stars. And yeah, all right, everyone. Have a lovely day. Thank you for being part of this. May Pangu lift up your ceiling. Day? Yeah. Thank you. I've been Matt Hoss.
I've been Dan Rhodes,
and this has been
Miffs.
Lovely stuff.
Miffs. 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 Miffs.
Sorry, I'm getting distracted. Oh! I dropped my phone. Matthew, I
Happens
dropped my
all the
phone
time.
mid-podcast.
You do that every single episode. I'm not sure if you noticed that, but you do.
All right, perfect.